Here we are. Okay. So for our agenda today, we are going to start with Michelle talking to us about our new VPAT reports and what's happening with those. We're excited to get those finally published. And we've done some additional work around once we got the initial reviews, found areas that we wanted to make improvements before we did the official publishing of the new report. And so you'll have that, and as well as a accessibility roadmap. We'll hear from Jen talking about a new newsletter that we are initiating that is focused on our end user audience, instructors and creators using Pressbooks. And then also our YouTube channel is newly reorganized, and so we wanted to call that out as another good resource for you. Steele will talk to us about Pressbooks Results and the recent Spotlight webinar we did and some resources that have come out of that, as well as a couple of smaller product updates that are, some of those niggling things that you wish would get fixed, and now we've fixed them. And then we'll talk a little bit about kind of share an update on the release notes availability on the dashboard. So with that, I'm happy to drive the slides for people. And Jen, why don't we, or no, Michelle, let's turn things over to you first.
Oh, good. Yeah, so in Pressbooks accessibility news, we have an up-to-date VPAT report, or two reports available on the updated accessibility page on the website now. So we contracted with accessibility professionals at the Inclusive Design Research Center at OCAD, and we were looking specifically at the authoring and the reading interface. Um, and
I was,
so,
I was just
oh
going to
yeah,
show people the how to get to the accessibility page on the website. So in the footer,
great.
yeah.
Yeah. And so on that second tab, you'll see that we've got the VPAT reports. So this is a voluntary product assessment template. It's really a criteria that assesses the product for any accessibility issues. And so we have been steadily working to make sure we conform to the WCAG 2.2 AA standards. And so you can see those reports there. And then we also have the an accessibility roadmap, and we are updating that document when additional changes are made. Because we work with WordPress, there are a couple of things that are sort of upstream fixes that we are always asking them to fix to make it a bit more accessible. But for the most part, this is what we have for our new VPATs, and it has been a great process.
Thank you. Any questions for Michelle about VPATs? All right. If you have questions about accessibility, I think we put this on our website as well, but you can report issues to premium support. You can direct questions either to premium support or you can direct them to me. And we will get the right information to you. Lauren.
Yeah, I was wondering about the timeline for the accessibility checker tool. I know that there was some information shared out about that a while back, and I wanted to see if that was still something that was on the roadmap or being considered as a tool to be released for authors on the platform.
Yes, very good question. So we have done some research around two accessibility checkers to test how they work with our platform. And so one is editorially, and Sally, I think, is the other one. Okay. And the good news is that we find both of them are compatible with the platform. We haven't found anything that they break. What we're evaluating next is how we want to incorporate those and sort of add some value to that. And our goal is to have we are still researching what that will look like, it would be premature of me to say how quickly we will have that. Part of it is an evaluation of saying, do we just add a plugin and say, there it is, there you go? In some of the conversations and the kind of needs assessment conversations we've been having, one of the questions is, what would you like an accessibility checker to do? And there's sort of the baseline. And would you like an accessibility checker that not only tells you where the issues are, but also helps you with correcting them? And it's that additional, the how does it help with correcting them piece that we're also evaluating to see if we want to take on some of that, which of those two options would be a better fit to do some additional work around. Is that in terms of timing, Christopher, I think it's premature to give any timing estimates, but do you want to add
Yeah.
anything to that?
Yeah, I want to add the standard stock disclaimer that this is forward-looking information, so don't make any big trades based on this info. But I can say that accessibility tools, checkers, those kinds of things are definitely something that is a big part of our focus at the moment. And we are evaluating, as Julie mentioned, both Sally and editorially. We will likely support one of them because the support cost of having two of them would be a lot for not a lot more value. So we're trying to decide which of those two is the best fit and probably integrate that into some wider, deeper changes into Pressbooks itself that we're kind of excited about, but it's very premature to talk about what those are. So yes, it is coming. It is very much a big part of what we're looking at the moment.
Okay.
Yeah, and I will say, in terms of timing, we know that there's a lot of attention, a big push around accessibility in the U.S. with the regulations shifting starting in April of next year, and ideally we'd have something kind of going into or early in this next academic year, if not heading into the academic year, to be able to help with that. So that we're hoping to do this sooner rather than later. And as Christopher said, do I want to say it? There's like broken link checker functionality that we're looking at multiple things that are creating these sort of sustainability issues that we're trying to help fix. So, okay, thank you for that question. Other questions? All right. Um, then we will move on to the next topic. Jen.
Yeah, thanks, Julie. One of the things that we are focusing some time on right now is clear communication and support to our end users so that they're able to get the information that they need, hoping to maybe make things easier for those who manage a network and support users. So both of these next two updates are sort of related to that. The first is that we are launching a quarterly newsletter, or what will begin as a quarterly newsletter for end users to let them know about important product updates, community updates, et cetera, et cetera. So include, I can include a link in the chat if anybody wants to circulate that to faculty or whatever. This is another way that they have to stay informed through us directly. And then the next one, oh, thanks, Julie. The next one, I'll share my screen, Julie, if that's okay, just briefly.
Yeah.
Just pointing to our YouTube. So we're creating a lot of video resources lately that, break down in bite-sized how to do things with Pressbooks. And so previously, if you had gone to our YouTube page, it was probably just like an overwhelming mess of videos. And so what we're doing right now is we're creating a lot of playlists and we're kind of nesting those in different categories so that somebody can come here and say, okay, I need a how-to on this part of Pressbooks. And we've also got these monthly meetings that are posted here as part of a playlist, the community webinars that we run. So really, we're continuing to add more content to our YouTube and B, make it easier to navigate and find what folks need to find. So just wanted to share that. And that's it from that. Any questions?
Yeah, one of the things that I'll note on that, a first step in YouTube channel cleanup was just getting it better organized. I'll also note that Previously, like our YouTube channel was kind of grandma's attic-y, where there's just a little bit of everything and a lot of it is really old. So there's a phase two of looking at what is some of the older stuff that it just we don't need anymore. I think some of that already has come out. We're in the process of pruning some of that. And then also looking at where some of the older videos where there have been enough significant updates that it's just time to redo those. Uh, so we are looking at that and giving a lot of attention to that right now. So just want to let you know, and it's a lot more user-friendly resource now than it was a month ago. So
And one more thing to add when we're going through and sort of auditing the old content is that our practices for how we subtitle videos have evolved a lot in the last several years. And so some of the older content, if we decide to keep it, there might be a process of going through subtitling that again to make sure that everything on that channel has proper captions and everything.
yeah. One of the things, by the way, that I'll say it is a coming soon thing because I think it really will be coming soon. So Steele has worked on some getting started videos that we actually have done a nice set of new getting started videos for the self-publisher product, and also we have a public library focused product that we never talked about here that is distributed through a reseller. And they're kind of like 85% the same across these different flavors of our product. And so one of the pieces of work that's partly done but not all the way done is to finish up that getting started video set for the enterprise product. That's just new and improved. I think a lot of the stuff that's there exists somewhere on our website, but it's just not all in these nice bite-sized curated videos. And so we're hoping to have that added as well. So yeah, so we're excited about that. Oh, and once that's ready, we will link that. That will improve the kind of in-product resources that people link to when they're getting started, and they see the login for the first time, and they're saying, okay, what is this Pressbooks thing? And you going to the link of video support. So we'll be enriching the video support that's there. Okay, thank you. And I guess I will go back to sharing my screen. Okay, Steele, do you want to actually
Yeah.
pick up here? Okay.
You can share for this and then I'll take over in a second.
Okay. Thank you.
So a really fun thing we did it was last month still, okay, was this webinar with faculty and instructional designers who had used Pressbooks Results recently. And they basically just talked about their experience, what were their teaching and learning goals, why did they adopt Pressbooks Results, what did it help them to accomplish. And so these were people from a variety of different schools and disciplines, teaching course sizes of very different sizes, talking about what Pressbooks Results and Interactive H5P basically did for them in their courses. It's a pretty interesting conversation, I thought, and there's a YouTube video that's recorded here. And then what's maybe even more helpful, I like to read more than I like to watch videos personally. And if that's you as well, or people that you know, then on our website, I'll take over the screen share. Jen has published this great blog post that kind of summarizes much of the contents of the webinar and what Pressbooks Results is and why people use it. And then there are 4 specific case studies from each of the panelists. So Phil Sukram, who's an accounting professor, here's an overview of what he was trying to do. Here's his background. Here's the content and the challenges he was trying to adopt, and then the impact. And then there's a link to that part of the video where Phil talks about his experience. The same thing is true for language instruction. This is Kate Neff from the University of Virginia, talking about how she used it in a language context and what challenges she had, which were different from Phil's, impact and the value there. Kate was also coordinating this course for many other instructors, so she was using like a model book that was used by many people. This one is Rebecca Lindsay, who's an instructional designer and a history instructor at Utah Valley University. And so she was really thinking about how can I figure out something that I can train faculty to do themselves, give them more tools, empower them as an instructional designer. And how could she do it herself to make sure that students are engaging with historical readings. And then last but not least is Cameron Ford from the University of Central Florida. He is an entrepreneurship professor that teaches a very high enrollment, 400 to 800 students a term course. And the course has been redesigned so that it really focuses on this end of term project where every student has to develop their own entrepreneurial project. And he only has 4 TAs for 800 students, and he wants to be able to have them really give deep feedback about the projects. But there's all this foundational knowledge they need to develop. And so he's got this flipped model where he does interactive videos and stuff in Pressbooks with H5P, and now it's being automatically graded and given feedback. And it really frees him and his TAs up to do the kind of deeper learning they want to do for the large learning projects. So it's a pretty cool story, and it kind of shows a pretty different use case at a different scale for Pressbooks Results. If any of those sound familiar or interesting to people at your schools, they're all published in the blog. You can link to them or share the videos. I think Jen did a really nice job of, there's some stuff in these blog posts that aren't in the recording. And so thanks, Jen, for the extra research and the publishing on that. I will also go next to the what we're doing with some minor changes related to support resources. So if you've ever gone to a Pressbooks, you have gone to a Pressbooks network before, in the bottom there's this link that says Powered by Pressbooks, and then it used to say Guides and Tutorials, and it actually linked to the marketing website, to the support page. It's a guide and tutorial link, and so we just clarified it and said Pressbooks User Guide, and now it takes you to the Pressbooks User Guide. So it's a little bit less confusing. That also happens on the dashboard. So if you log in as a user and you're in your dashboard, there'll always be a link to the user guide anywhere you go in the dashboard. Connected to what Julie was saying earlier, if I'm in Pressbooks, there's a couple of small changes you might notice as a regular end user. The first is we overhauled our end user webinars recently, and we just want people to know that they're available as a free resource for training. So if you log into the Pressbooks dashboard, you'll now see, want to get more from Pressbooks, register for a free training webinar link. This will take you to the marketing website where you see the upcoming webinars. So for example, in June, there's the Getting Started topic, the Create Engaging Learning Materials, where you learn about Pressbooks Results, and the Publish and Prepare Your Book for Distribution, where you learn about things like how to do pre-publication checks, proofreading, accessibility, broken links, how you can generate exports and distribute them or sell them or publish them or whatever you'd like to do. So that's now available on the dashboard. And if you look down in the support resources block, there's always going to be a link to the user guide there and the training webinars. And this is what Julie was talking about earlier. If you click the Getting Started with Pressbooks link, this takes you to the YouTube playlist with a bunch of videos about how to get started doing basic things in Pressbooks. Right now there's 8 videos, 7 of them were just updated in the last month, and we'll be adding a few more in the coming weeks. So that's just available for users anytime they log into Pressbooks. Hopefully that helps you reduce your support burden and help people find what they need more efficiently. Another change that we made, I will jump ahead. I don't know if I need to show the slide on this, but I guess I can. Sorry, let me go back and share my slide. Oops. Which is, so the problem was if you are on a Pressbooks hosted network, there's a maximum file upload size of 25 megabytes, which is great. If you're uploading 25 megabyte images, you probably have a problem, but this helps you upload things that you need in your book without letting you host video files and other stuff you shouldn't be putting in Pressbooks. But there are some situations where people were trying to use the import function in Pressbooks, and they were importing, say, an EPUB file that was 30 megabytes in size or 35 megabytes. Sometimes EPUBs get a little bit bigger if they include images or audio and haven't been produced very efficiently. So some people were trying to upload EPUBs to import them into Pressbooks, and were hitting this file upload size. So we made a change for all the hosted networks. There's still a 25 megabyte file upload limit, but when you're using the upload function or upload feature, you can now upload files up to 50 megabytes using that feature, which means if you have larger EPUBs that are between 25 and 50 megabytes, you can upload them and Pressbooks will be able to handle that import without issue. It's a pretty niche concern, but there were a few people that had legitimate desire to bring in EPUB content through this method, and we're hitting that limit, and so now it's been raised. And I think I'll turn it back to Julie for coming soon.
Yeah, thank you. I guess one last note on that file size. If for some reason you have something that the 50 megabyte limit is still a challenge, we can sort of temporarily lift and support you and then kind of bring it back to the standard. We think that's going to be very rare, but just want to let you know that that's an option if there's something that is really critical for you. So. Okay, I will share my screen then. Okay, so the coming soon. Let's see, actually, Michelle, is this you?
I'm gonna actually take
Or
this one.
Jen? Okay, sorry.
And that's okay. And it's not coming soon. It actually is here now as of today. So I'll share my
You want
screen
to share
again.
your screen? Okay.
That's okay. So we had chatted about this maybe last month or the month before, how we have put together monthly release notes to give a bit more of a granular view into some of the product updates. And we're looking for, where to house these and how to let people know. So one of the things that just got updated is they're now available in the product. So in the admin dashboard, we have a new product update section, and it will pull the most sort of critical or important big updates over the last like month or two. And so because this is the first time they were posted, I did pull a few from past release notes, not just this past month, because there were some pretty big releases in the last little while. So this will be updated on a monthly basis as we update our release notes to kind of show you kind of top level what's most important, and then it'll link out to the full release notes that are hosted on our website.
Thank you. And Jen, I know that's in the network manager view. We'd had some discussion about also adding that into the everybody else's
Yeah,
dashboard view. Is it there yet?
not there yet,
Not there yet.
but
Okay. Okay, so I think that was a suggestion that came out of an earlier product
meeting.
update conversation from network managers saying, it would sure be nice if our end users could have access to some of this data too. And so we've taken that as a to-do item and we'll plan on getting that in for the end users as well. Okay, any questions about that? All right. Um, then I will share my screen for the last couple of topics. So first off, just the reminder of the monthly training webinars. Steele showed us the page on our website where people can go and sign up for those. The June dates are there. The July dates should get added sometime relatively soon. But we do those 3 topics every month. We also, towards the end of June, have another webinar that we're excited about. This one we are hosting in conjunction with OE Global. And it is so we've been hosting an Under the Hood series with them where they're taking a deeper dive into interesting and noteworthy OER projects that have been created with Pressbooks. And this one is looking at a couple of projects that are doing scenario-based learning and role play learning coming out of the call network in Australasia. And so the timing is a little bit wonky. It's 8 p.m. Eastern time, so apologies for anybody on the East Coast, but that's actually a very human time for the people in Australia who are doing that. So it will be later in the day for most of us in North America, but well worth it. And it will be recorded as well. So if you can't make the time but want to have access to the recording, please register and you'll be able to get access to that. And let's see, the other thing we wanted to just make sure people were aware of in case you are planning on going to any of these conferences, this is where we're going to be over the next couple of months. So I will be attending the Alt OER conference in London. That's a UK-based OER event. There's an online learning summit hosted by the University of Leeds in July, as well as the Maryland Online Leadership Institute in July. And then D2L Fusion, we are sending somebody to that for the first time. They are adding an H5P track to that event, and we wanted to, given how we use H5P, be involved in that and get better uh, a lot, or I guess better connected within that community. The D2L folks reached out to us this past week and said, "Hey, if you have any of your clients that might be interested in that track, we're decided that we're going to host an H5P community specific event, and we also can offer a discount code to folks to take a little bit of money off the conference fee, I guess. So if anybody is interested in that, please reach out. You can send me a note.
I just popped the discount code in the chat.
Okay, thank you. So the discount code is there. But if that is of interest to anybody, we wanted to encourage you to consider that. And that brings us to the end of our formal agenda. And so we'd love to, I will stop sharing now and we can go to the community roundtable. So any questions, any topics you want to put out there, any interesting projects or events that you'd like to share about? All right. I know this is the end of the academic year, and sometimes we're all just kind of relieved to be getting over the finish line at this time of year. So, but as you have, if there are things that are coming up, please reach out. I know that Jen lurks on the OER listservs looking for interesting tidbits coming up and new books and publications and so forth. And so, yeah, so please continue posting for stuff like that there because we appreciate that as well. All right. Oh, Steele, go ahead.
Cheryl sent me a DM earlier in the meeting about one of the links in the admin interface doesn't point to the guide like we expected. And I did a little investigation with Christopher and we found exactly what it was. Cheryl, we merged the change to the dev environment, but we haven't yet merged it to the production. So it'll be like a 3-second thing and then it will appear probably at our next deploy. So thanks for catching that. And that link will redirect correctly very soon.
Thank you, Cheryl, for keeping us honest. So,
thank you for fixing it. Hey, I've had a challenge lately that maybe you all can help me with. In terms of copy editing a book that's an adaptation of an existing press book. So typically when we do new projects, we have the Word files and we send those to the copy editor because that's her preferred format. And then we import into Pressbooks afterwards. But this is already in Pressbooks. And so I have really struggled with how to provide the copy editor access. If we give her access to Pressbooks, we can't see the changes she's making without looking at the previous versions. And she didn't necessarily want to learn a new platform for editing. We could export to PDF, but she didn't want to edit in PDF. She said that's very tedious. We tried exporting to PDF and then converting to a Word doc, but it generates this 1,000-page Word doc that my computer did not love. So I've been copying and pasting from the displayed version of the Pressbook to
Yeah,
create Word docs for her to edit, which is not.
Cheryl, there is an export to Word or document option. Did that not work for the book?
I was told that
Oh,
that was removed.
okay.
That
So
they,
then maybe what I would suggest then is export to XHTML, and you'll have the whole book as an HTML document, and
okay.
then you can either bring that in with Word or Google Docs. I think that ought to work. And then if that's the case, you have a single Word document that they can track changes, do stuff in. The difficult part is going to be once they're done, it's not just a one click. You can't just import over in place. You'd have to be like, okay, here are the changes they made in this chapter, and then someone's going to have to make the changes in Pressbooks, and that's not it's a little bit painful, but that's probably the best way. But XHTML should be importable into either Word or Google Docs. And I think there's probably a document about this somewhere. I'll see if I can find
That would be
information.
fabulous. I posed this question on the listservs, and somebody responded that Pressbooks used to have an open office export option, but it got removed last year.
Yeah,
Um,
the open office one was breaking, and it was so I think there is a future intention to make better import export tools out of Google Docs, Microsoft Word, but it's going to require like a big refactor change. And so I don't know when they'll be prioritized. So for now, the option I think is XHTML and then into your editing. That's going to be the cleanest.
okay, very cool. Thank you. I think you just saved me days of work.
All right.
I need to ask our support team where that, because I feel like we have a document about doing this. If not, then we should publish it in our guide because this is not an uncommon problem.
All right. Thank you. You'll write that up, Steele. Or if you can't find it, you'll write that up. Okay, perfect. All right. Anything else? All right. Well, thank you, everybody. We appreciate your time. We appreciate your support. We appreciate your partnership. And we will look forward to reconnecting next month, if not sooner. All right. Take care.